What's up, everybody? Huang Zero here, and today we're going to talk about the recent ban list announcement, I suppose. So, we're going to get the ban list announced on October 17th, so in a couple of days, and we're going to discuss what we would like to see on the ban list, what we think is going to be on the ban list, and, just things along that lines. And joining me today, we do have Zero.
What's up, guys?
So, obviously, before we get into what we think is going to be on the ban list and all that other jazz, let's talk about the currently existing ban list, right? So, the Digimon ban list, it was said we were going to get more frequent updates. So I'm very interested to see what that really entails. But at the current moment, this is the list we do have. And right off the bat, is there anything you think could come off the list and wouldn't be a problem? Because I look at this and I think Savior could come off the list, to be honest. Because at that point, you're just playing like a really bad BT9 deck, per se. But then you have decks like Luca and stuff like that, which is just a much better version. But if you want to get rid of BT9 style of decks entirely, probably just keep Savior on the list, as well as like Dory Greymon and stuff like that. But
I honestly don't think Tommy should be on here.
Really? Okay, why is that?
I I think we're at a point where Blue Hybrid doesn't is no longer like the way Blue Hybrid played the game,
Mm-hmm.
and with the evolution of the rest of the game, the Blue Hybrid playstyle of the game is no longer oppressive, and Tommy is kind of in a way away. I do really like Source Strip as a mechanic
Right.
because it's a way to play around certain sources, and I don't know. I feel like Tommy is strong, but yeah, I don't know. Personally, I don't feel like he's a problem.
So do you think, if hypothetically you unlimit Tommy, and he came back at 4, do you think it becomes a issue with the Zudomon and Gomamon and the rest of that source script package coming into the meta?
I think that'll be a much more relevant deck.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be an issue? Hard to say. Like it would be like a threat that you have to deal with. But I
Right.
don't think like I think Tommy previously was a problem
Mm-hmm.
of how efficient it is, but we now have like other decks that stun just also as efficiently,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of decks that can switch strip, pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those decks aren't really problematic or extremely prevalent. So I don't know if, like, I feel like Tommy is one of those cards that was just too strong for its time,
Yeah.
but realistically can come back now and not be an issue.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's hard to say for the rest of these cards, right? A lot of these
Yeah.
cards are coming back. They're still problematic, right?
They either generate too much value, they're way too cheap, they give too much damage output, they're just some kind of
Oh yeah,
uninteractive bullshit, right?
like yeah. I mean, you can make argument maybe like Grand Koargamon is no longer like as
No, no,
oppressive.
no.
Yeah, but let me finish. It's no longer as oppressive of a deck, but the problem is that it still enables like a very degenerate playstyle, right?
Right.
Like kill in one turn. Just Sophie is still really annoying because now you have access to Patamon and all this other BS
Yeah.
to, like, I know green players gonna riot because they want Blossomon off the ban list.
No, Blosso and Argo need a stick for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Zero cost evolution was kind of a mistake.
All right, hear me out. Where Garus did nothing
No.
wrong.
No. Alright. Anyway. But yeah, for the most part, like you have Impmon. Impmon accelerated the deck way too much, and then you had Beelzemon killing you turn 3. Greymon X, it made all your evolutions too cheap. You climbed to your top 10 too fast. Scatter Mode. Scatter Mode's a weird one, I guess. Scatter Mode, you could argue, can maybe come off the list. But with Purple
Just,
being so strong right now, I probably would just keep it on. Because it's only... Wait, hold on. What's up?
that card is not called Scatter Mode.
Oh, wait. Oh, you're right. This is Eismon. This is Eismon. My bad. But Eismon, I think Eismon could like arguably come off the ban list, but with Purple being so strong right now, I think letting it off is like way too good, right? Because like hypothetically, let's say you're playing a Pokemon, right? And you go Eismon swing, Eismon dies, draw 3, discard 2, do whatever, and then you play Eismon, and then Evo over Eismon into Lady Devimon, and then do the Lady Devimon effect. And you just accelerated your game state like an extra 3 or 4 cards, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of insane, no? So I think for this, I think. Oh, what's up?
Purple. So with how good Purple stacks can be
Yeah.
now, having Iceman generate free body and allow
Yeah.
you to like, can you imagine Anubis getting like
with
the free,
Anubis, it'd be gross for sure.
yeah, like getting the free Icemon, and then you can like do it. Sure, like imagine like Anubis getting the free Icemon out,
Yeah.
and then you Chimera into a level 5, and then you go Anubis on top of that Chimera
Mm-hmm.
for or like a second Anubis play.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'll pass on that. Cross four, it's degenerate looping card. Doru Grape, too much damage output. War Garu, too much damage output. Argument Blasso, zero cost evolution's a mistake. Savior Huck, a lot of damage output. Like you said, Jet Selfie is very annoying. Grand Kuaga, too much damage output. Ice Wall, first year at Nationals,
It's too cost efficient.
it's way too cost efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, it's we mentioned this a lot of time before, but it costing one and being able to play at any time without restriction, like people have complained about Super Ice Wall on like
Mega X.
Mega X, right? But like that's a whole level 6 evolution.
Right.
That require like for you to commit a stack.
Yeah, this is casually just from your hand, like you toss it onto the board and you're like, oh, I dropped something. -2 memory.
Not even that. Like once Ice Wall is annoying enough, but your ability to play multiple Ice Wall is the problem. Like just your opponent just dropping 2 Ice Wall on you, and you're just like, okay, I just skip my next turn.
Right. HPD, it's zero cost evolution again. Like why? Calling was way too resource efficient. MDF, if anyone says MDF comes off should come off the ban list, I think you need to get checked. You might need to go to a asylum, to be honest with you. MDF ruin mode, I think, might give me a stroke. Not gonna lie. Reinforcing, I think with Patamon and Messenger of Hope and all this other bullshit, I think is a little too strong. Sunrise Buster, with Shine Greymon currently how it is, Sunrise might be a little too strong. And again, we talked about Tommy. But that being said, what cards do we actually think get hit, right? So obviously, right off the bat, I think the card that's most likely going to get hit, assuming Bandai is competent, right? That's the keyword, assuming. Is probably going to be Marcus. You know, I think this is like probably the card that comes to most people's minds when it comes to a ban list. This is a hybrid that is also built in with HPD. That's kind of messed up, you know.
Yeah, I hear a lot of argument from people trying to say that this card shouldn't get hit. I don't agree. Even if you think like other colors would be really powerful if Shine get hit or anything like that, I think this card really enable like a degenerate playstyle of this deck. Like how it doesn't happen all the time, but I think we've done enough testing to where, oh, my opponent opened relatively well with Shine. I guess I just die turn 2 because I can't interact with anything. You know, like they have Mark.
I mean, you also have those situations where like you swing into security and then you hit this 4-cost Marcus, and suddenly now they can climb all the way into their 7 and then beat your ass. You know.
Yeah, like oh, I hit the Marcus. Now they have 2 Marcus. I guess I just die.
Yeah, like it's not interactive whatsoever in like even the slightest sense. It just sucks.
It would be okay as a car if we have more ways to interact with Tamers, but we don't. Tamer interaction is still extremely limited. It's still mostly specifically 2 color, being able to stun, and black having Tamer destruction.
Right.
Like and you know like green can kind of
Quartzmon and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it and even in blue is very like even the stun. Even the Tamer interaction in blue is extremely limited, and in black is usually like for black work, you know.
Right.
So like our method to deal with Tamer is still very inefficient in my opinion. Like outside the very specific decks that can deal with them, you really don't ever touch Tamers.
Yeah, and so if you look at results, this is BT13, so Shine Greymon at 102 results compared to everything else. The next closest is Royal Knights at 72, then Blackwork at 51. Like the disparity is kind of astonishing. And then this is BT14, again, Shine Greymon is still the top dog by quite a bit. And then this is EX5, so now you have Anubis, and you have all these other decks, Mirage and whatnot, and Shine is still keeping up. I think
when you were doing that, your pop-up, your drag down doesn't show on screen, so we're just looking at a blank screen.
Oh, okay, it shows up on the recording. That's fine.
Okay.
But the point is that Shine has been a relatively strong deck, if not the best deck in the format, for several formats in a row, for over a year now in Japan. And this ban
Yeah.
list is most likely going to be for the Japanese players, and then it will mimic it in English. So assuming previous precedent applies here, we'll probably get this hit is active on this date, right? So we'll get something right now, probably hit the Marcus, and then we'll get a little bit more, but it won't take effect until later in the future. But
Yeah, I do not think Shine can escape this ban list unscathed. It really just a matter of how hard they're gonna hit it. It's either this Marcus. If they go lighter, they might hit something else, but it's probably this Marcus because at least they're this was on Ultimate Cup ban list.
Right, correct.
Right. So at least they're very aware. Like it just feel like because it's on the Ultimate Cup list, there's like a target on the card,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like that's the card that they think is Spawnmatic.
So there's an argument that like you hit like BT13
Yeah,
Marcus instead to try and like reduce the amount of memory they can gain and stuff like that. But again, the other Marcus is just a free Eva, right? That's fundamentally representing like a free +3, you know.
But this card also is like really strong.
This is also very strong. I'm not dismissing the fact that this is strong, but I think hitting the card that is a hybrid plus HPD makes a lot more sense than hitting this one, right? At least in my head, it does. And now if Bandai's incompetent, they might just hit Agumon for the fuck of it. Like, oh, dude, your Marcus is a Digimon. It's too strong. Ooh. You know.
More than likely, if they don't hit the Marcus, they'll probably hit like Rise.
I think they might hit Geo, to be honest, if they don't hit Marcus.
You think Geo?
I think Geo's more likely than Rise. I think this Geo Greymon is really, really good. But again, I really just think like you hit the Marcus, you solve this issue.
Unironically, hitting that Geo Greymon would also nerf Vaccine Yellow.
It would. Yeah. But like, is Vaccine Yellow a problem? Not really.
Not really, but Panama is really annoying.
Yeah, but at that point, you'd rather hit Messenger, right? Like, Messenger is a way more problematic issue than Geo Greymon is, personally.
Right. Anyways, yeah, so Marcus get hit. What's up? What else?
Okay, so so going into BT14, because that's the format we have coming up. BT14, Shine Greymon is the best deck in format. Following Shine Greymon, however, you have Mirage Galgamon and Luga. Now, I know, most of the audience here has played into Mirage Galgamon. You know how annoying it can be. You can OTK and whatnot, but Mirage Galgamon gets access to Blue Training in BT14, which significantly buffs the consistency. But before we talk about Mirage, let's talk about Luga, right? Luga is the big oof, right? And I think most people probably have not played against Luga or played into Luga. This is a BT9 deck. This is just fundamentally a BT9 deck in its like purest essence, right?
If you haven't played into it, essentially this deck is incredibly memory efficient because it just gains like 3 memory for
existing.
Yeah, like AG just give you a memory, the ESS give you a memory, like the on swing give you for
Fen
the level 5
Luga itself gives you like memory.
Yeah, like it's put your like the cap at 3, so you actually extend your memory. And then it play 3 body and pop one of your opponent body on board.
And it swings 3 times, and each swing is 2 damage. Like, it's a BT9 deck. No matter how you slice it, it's a BT9 deck.
There's very little ways to interact with it too.
Yeah.
It's just it just come out and kill you. Like if you don't have a way to pop the AG or deal with the tamer, you actually just get smacked. And it's been seeing a lot of result in Japan, very consistently, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So. But let's be realistic. Bandai does not have a history of hitting brand new cards as they come out.
Right.
In Japan. Right?
Yeah.
So they typically don't hit cards as they come out in Japan. The only example of us getting a hit that was fairly soon after release was X4. Right? Cross 4.
So we got Cross 4 hit very, very quickly.
2 weeks into BT10, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was very, very early on.
Yeah, it's like 2 3. Yeah, it was very soon into BT10. So, but this ban list is happening before BT14 is happening. So I don't think they'll hit anything in 14 in relation to Luga. So with that said, if you were to hit Luga, what card would you hit?
So I think the biggest one, and I know a lot of people might write about this, is Analog. Analog as a card, I think we've gotten to the point in the game where like there's too many decks that abuse this card way too much because it accelerates their trash count. And it allows them to extend their plays. It's a consistency booster. It really just does everything for 2 cost. The problematic decks that we're talking about in this question is Luga, Apocalypse, are probably the two biggest offenders. Off my head, I think there's like one more, but like I can't think of it right now.
Um,
There's yeah, Davis, right? But Davis not like an issue deck per se. So like we'll stick strictly to Apocalypse and Luga. But having Analog Youth allows you to accelerate the trash count, which is very significant for both of these decks. It allows you to extend your turn. If you pass turn, pop your stuff, both decks have abilities to pop on end of turn, so they can trigger the Analog Youth and keep going.
Well, that's also, if you hit this, it probably
Mm-hmm.
kill Loop, Purple Loop, right?
What do you mean? Oh, like in general?
Yeah, like just Loop decks in general, because they all kind of abuse this card.
There's like an argument that like you don't want loop decks in the game to begin with, right? Like I think that in of itself is a whole like discussion we're not going to get into.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Suggest like hitting this card will cause Purple player to write. That's all I'm saying.
No, it probably will, but hitting Analog Youth makes it so Luga can't OTK you turn 3. Because it means they can't loop Hell Luga. It means they're not like accelerating their trash count. They're not getting all those dark animals as fast. Apocalymon's not going to be able to get their Dark Masters and trash fast enough. Like hitting Analog makes a lot of sense to me. I think
I agree,
yeah.
But the question is whether Bandai agree, and I'm not
Right.
sure. I'm not sure they'll hit Analog per se. Like I think I do agree it's a pretty good hit. Now, one other card that can potentially be hit for Luga is Black Gato 1.
Right. So yeah, if Bandai, whoops, I cannot type in black. That is a whole archetype. Yeah. So
Color?
it's
color?
a whole color. So if Bandai doesn't feel that Analog is a sufficient enough hit for Luga, you arguably can just hit Black Gato, because this is like what enables them to OTK. Without Black Gato, they're doing 6 damage, but the 5-6 damage is the third swing that kills the 5th security.
Yeah, you remember us having early discussion about Luga, and we're just like, oh, if it doesn't kill you, you get clapped back really hard, and that's one of the reasons we initially didn't think Luga was that good.
So the issue back then was people were testing very low quantities of this card. Because of like 3-cost evolution, you don't want to see it like super early game. Turns out the reality is just shove in a lot of these cards and just kill them, like, duh. So I bumped it up to a 3 count, and then I started like clapping everyone, and yeah, this card is gross. You hit both of these cards if you want to like keep Luga in check. There's an argument just hitting the Analog Youth is enough to keep Luga in check, but like if you want to like make sure the nail is in the coffin, Black Gato is a really good hit without like killing the deck per se. Then it
just won't consistently OTK you anymore.
Well, it can't OTK you unless they have Chimeramon, which is a lot more to ask for because it's a non-searchable target.
Right.
And if they hit Black Gato to 1, then like, yeah, they're not guaranteed to get the OTK off. That's probably okay, but they still might just randomly like flip you. But like, they've also left War Garurumon and Grand Kawagamon at 1.
We have a lot of one-off that could potentially
just like burger flip you. So like, I whatever. Bandai.
Okay, so let's talk about the third deck.
Right, Mirage.
Was doing well. Yeah, Mirage. So I think this is a very contentious deck to talk about because even though it did well in Japan, Mirage saw basically 0 success in English.
Yeah, so if we go to East's channel, because I know East did like a compilation of this, specifically for BT14, if I remember correctly. Where is it? What did you put it, East? EX5. Yeah, okay, here it is.
What's going on, Taylor? It's me, Guy, back from the beach.
Where is it?
Did I get it?
No, it's not that. Okay, yeah, here it is. So, actually, interestingly enough, let me go to the conclusion. Okay, so Mirage actually isn't the third. It's War Greymon. War Greymon was the third represented deck. Which I think is fair. War Greymon is a very strong deck. War Greymon is very, very strong. But we'll get to that in a second. But if you wanted to hit Mirage, because if you hit Luga and you hit Shine, Mirage is kind of an issue. And Mirage can do pretty well.
Wait. Let's stop right there.
Okay.
Mirage is kind of an issue. Let's explore that statement.
Right.
We know Mirage loses to Belphemon in general.
Right.
So by that, does the training boost significantly improve that matchup in any way? If we talking theory, if we hit both Luga and Shine, Belphegor stay a pretty relevant.
Well,
deck,
so I
doesn't it?
actually chatted with Tessero a little bit about this, and he was like, Belphegor is not a deck that really uses training boost very well. Um, and so into decks that just like pump out a lot of damage very quickly, it can be like a little bit of a struggle. So into Mirage, it's probably fine, but then other decks that might be able to just pump out like damage, like Luga for example, could be a bit more of an issue. Granted, if you hit Black Auto, it's fine, right? Because
it's also not training boost, right? Like there's one very other problematic card for blue in 14.
Oh, Buka, yeah, Buka's. Actually, that brings up a really good point. Melga is probably an issue for Belphegor, actually, because you negate one attack and then they still beat your ass with the other three. So
fair enough.
Yeah, I think Melga might actually be able to check Belfi, which is not to say Belfi won't be a good deck, because Belfi might actually be a very good deck with those hits. But if you like hit Mirage, because Mirage, like if you hit Luga, the next OTK deck in the line is probably Mirage. You probably hit Thomas, right? Like you realistically
you
hit Thomas.
Yeah, you just hit that Thomas is probably enough of a hit.
Yeah.
Does it kill the deck?
I think it strongly mitigates how much they can like randomly OTK you, and I think then Mirage can potentially shift into a more control style of deck, which we've actually seen a little bit of because Mirage ends up playing 4 Zudomon. Yeah. 4 Zudo, 4 Goma, and then 4 of the EX4 Mach Galgamon. So we've already started to see this shift into a more control style of Mirage Galgamon anyway. So if you hit this Thomas, like, it hurts the deck a lot, but then you just pivot into, like, this more control play style. And I think you're probably okay.
Yeah. Like, one of the really strong thing that they can do in BT14 is because you have Bukamon, and you can now go into the Galgamon, or like you go Ikakumon, you move out into Ikakumon, you level 4 string, right? And then now you set up an ace play with Zudomon in your hand.
Yeah, and so like with Bukamon, Bukamon's a really messed up pick. This card is like way too broken. But they won't hit it because it's way too new. So realistically speaking, if you think about it, blue decks all got like a huge buff across the board, right? Bukamon, the Source Strip engine, and then Training Boost. All of these are really, really big proponents to like push blue, especially Mirage. Mirage is a really big benefactor of all these buffs. So, like, I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, Mirage doesn't deserve a hit. You hit these other decks because they're problematic. But I think the worry then is if you don't hit Mirage and you hit everything else, does Mirage suddenly become the top dog, right? Because you look at Ultimate Cup format, you look at Ulti Cup, and Shine is hit, right? And what are the best decks in Ultimate Cup? It's all blue decks. Blue Flare, Mirage Galgamon, and Ulforce.
No, Mirage is a fake dog. Melga is the best dog.
But Melga sucks in Ulti Cup. So, case in point, you hit, you know, if Ultimate Cup is showing these results, what's going to stop that from reoccurring in the main game, right? So I think hitting Thomas is probably like a very solid hit to make sure that Nightmare of Reality doesn't occur, given the fact that we're buffing blue like crazy in BT14.
Okay, so I think that's really good explanation, but now let's talk about the other deck that got... I mean, it got a lot of support, right? It got a whole trial deck, and it got a whole line.
Oh, Melga? Or Wargrave?
No.
Both of
Wargrave.
these are... Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but Melga does... In 14, at the very least, Melga does not have nearly the performance that Wargrave is showing. So, realistically, if we leave Wargrave as the top dog, is it a problem? And should there be any hit to Wargrave?
So I think the thing about Wargrave is in the current state of how Wargrave plays, it's a lot more fair of a best deck in the format because it's so fundamentally slow in how it kills you. Because it's like swing 2 or 3 damage and then like swing 2 or 3 damage again to like have Omni Prage. But on average, you're probably like it's not going to be like knocking on your door turn like 3, right? It's just not happening. In a world where you do have to hit Wargreymon or like Black Wargreymon or whatever, I don't even know what you would hit, I guess. What do you hit? Because like the precedent, right, is like we won't hit SRs because Bandai has never hit an SR in the main format, so I don't think it's fair to like assume they're gonna do that all of a sudden, right? But I don't know. I don't think there's a single unfair card outside of like Greymon X. You know what I mean?
They could hit BT12 tie.
I mean, and that's fair. I think BT12 tie is a valid hit, but is BT12 tie really that unfair of a card? Like genuinely speaking, is it that unfair of a card? Because I don't think it is.
I think it's okay. I think it's a pretty good card, and it does. I think the ability to get blocker.
It's a
having
very
to
good
play,
card. It is a very good card.
Yeah, the ability to get blocker without playing block inherit give it a lot of defense that it naturally wouldn't have access to,
Mm-hmm.
but by playing a more aggressive version, right? Like this card allow you to get like security, like extra security Greymon in your source, and then do the smack and like reboot into a blocker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where if you lose this card, that's become much harder to do. So maybe that will curb Greymon aggressiveness enough.
I'll be very frank. I think realistically speaking, I don't think Bandai hits Thomas. They should hit Thomas. They won't hit Thomas. Because I don't have faith in Bandai to hit Thomas. They should hit Black Auto. But they won't hit Black Auto. I think that's just reality. I think optimism has not gotten us anywhere with this.
I mean, to be frankly realistic, I think this ban list is literally gonna be Marcus.
It'll probably just be Marcus. Yeah, annoyingly so. It'll probably just be Marcus. Like we hit analog Marcus. I'm happy, I guess. But like we definitely could have done more. But like they won't hit Blackwarg. They won't hit Thomas. They won't do any of that. One card, however, I do think they potentially will hit for the Japanese players is like if you look at results, okay. You have Apocalypse, and if you hit Apocalypse, because you hit Analog, and they won't hit Garu X, they probably will not, because it's just way too new. But then you have Anubis, and you have Melga. And how do you hit both of these decks, right? Well, there's a one common factor between both of these decks, right? And that is BT6 Sunomon, right? Yep. BT6 Sunomon is one of the biggest proponents to the consistency in both of these decks, right? Because it's a free draw one that triggers way too easily in both of these decks.
Yeah, the Suno name is also extremely powerful because they allow you to beef up Gabu X for 0.
Right.
And if you ever try the new starter deck Suno Egg, it's significantly worse than this one because that Suno Egg requires
it's a swing. It's on swing. It's on swing.
It's on swing, and you need to have 6 or less cards. You
right.
often miss that threshold when playing this deck. Yeah. And if you're not missing that threshold, you're playing with very low hand. This card enable you to just get a bunch of extra draw off in Anubis, which is really important for the deck to cycle. So if objectively, this will probably be a very this is a very good hit if you want to hit both of those decks.
Yeah. They should hit Suno. BT6 Suno genuinely is an issue. It's just buffing.
It is very old. It's old enough for them to realistically hit it.
But again, I don't think Bandai hits it. I want them to hit it, but they won't hit it. That upsets me.
I think this ban list. I think realistically, we're talking about this ban list is literally just Marcus, right?
Okay. So like, let's say in an ideal world, right? We have Thomas, we have Black Auto, you have Ty, right? Because I do think like Warg probably needs a tap. If you want to hit Anubis, they won't hit Merva because Merva's an SR, and we don't have precedent. But
Ignite.
You can hit Ignite, right? Because Ignite it gives them the additional memory off the Merva play, so it's a 1-cost.
It gives them 4 memory.
Yeah, well, it's also a form of removal, right? It's a form of spot removal. The deck doesn't need, or it needs it. The deck it's broken, but like, take it away from them. They don't deserve it, right? Like, in an ideal world, they'll just hit SR. But in if this ban list is like competent and follow their pre-established rule, like their invisible rule right now, where they don't hit SRs and they don't hit really new card, this is probably like if I see this ban list, I'm okay with it. I'm happy with this ban list. Yeah, I can't think of another deck that's like problematic. Like yes, Apocalypse is problematic. Apocalypse is a huge problem. Apocalypse is such a dumb design. It's super uninteractive. Like there's just nothing you can do about it. But they like, you hit Eismon, they just play Garu X, and they won't hit Garu X because Garu X is way too new. So like hit Analog and like pray that's enough, I guess. Like I don't know, dude. This is like best case scenario abiding by the, like you said, the invisible rules that Bandai has given us.
Yeah, I think this ban list is gonna. So the way they handle this ban list is gonna show a lot about this team.
Yeah, because
So
is
let's just say
this?
let's just assume we don't really know the timeline.
Mhm.
Let's just say like the previous ban list is like all the previous team, right? And this is like the first ban list going in. BT14 is kind of like a soft reboot for the game.
Right.
So in a way, treat this ban list as like the first official ban list that we're getting because it's the ban list going into BT14,
Mhm.
right? So it's like the first major ban list with a quote unquote new team. We don't know if that's true. They could have handled previous ban lists. That's like, but let's make that assumption.
Right.
How they manage this ban list is going to be give us a good indication of where they are going forward.
So I think.
I will be pleasantly like for two things on my personal wish list.
Mhm.
Stop hitting stuff to 1. Hit stuff
Hit
to
stuff to
0.
0, dude. I'm tired of this one bullshit.
Right. So that's 1. And number 2, please hit SR.
Yes.
If an SR plus is problematic, please hit it. You don't have to hit it to 0. Like I think the SR and secret rare to 1 is a lot more reasonable than hitting like all these low rarity to 1, right?
Yeah.
Because you make the argument of hitting high rarity to 1, let them keep their value, and doesn't hurt the secondary market as much and make these cards worthless. But at the same time, like like it helped the game by hitting relevant cards.
Mhm.
But
So
I think like low rarity cards should just be hit to 0 if they're especially problematic.
So I think there's like an argument. I know we've discussed this very extensively that you like hit the Dark Masters, but A, they're way too new. Bandai won't do that. B, if you hit the Dark Masters, the deck is like extra dead in the water because you can like Apocalypse once and then like you can't Apocalypse again. Um, so they won't go for it, and then it comes to back to the whole like, what else do you hit? Do you hit analog? Cool, we hit analog. What else do you hit other than analog? You know?
Realistically, I don't think if they hit analog at all, that's great. But realistically, I don't think we'll get any hit toward Apocalypse until well into BT16.
Annoyingly so, yeah.
Yeah, into the new meta. There's a real possibility that they're going to they're going to have cards in BT16 to deal with Apocalypse.
I think like realistically, like this is not on the ban list. This is not on the ban list. This is not on the ban list. Which of these is most likely? I think one of these is on the ban list. I think one of these
It'll be
will
Suno. It'll be Suno. It'll be Suno.
This
Uh,
is like
I'll be real with you. I don't think Analog's on the ban list.
it should be. It really should. No.
I think based on the previous criteria, it's gonna be them hitting the quote unquote problematic deck, problematic color and deck in the ban list, and then they'll snipe purple for randomly, and it'll be Suno.
No, I think they'll hit analog because this is a JP ban list. I think they'll hit analog because it's a JP ban list.
I don't have faith, dude.
I look, man. I'm tired, Dad. Oh.
Oh yeah, I don't think
I don't think they're gonna hit Suno, frankly.
I think Suno's a more realistic hit than Analog.
I think Analog's more realistic. We'll keep them both on there for funsies.
Yeah.
The only one I'm pretty confident they'll do is like they'll hit Marcus. That's like the only one I'm confident in.
Okay, if I'll say this, if Bandai does this ban list even remotely close to like a competent list, I'll have some faith in them again. Because our last several ban lists have been pretty awful.
I've been let down a lot recently with these ban lists. Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But give me this at least. Give me these 3 cards at least, and like I'll be pretty content. You know. But I'm pretty sure, knowing Bandai, we'll get like Marcus, and then that's it. For fun, dude. Maybe we'll like unlimit MTF. You know, like ooh. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna shed real tears, man. I can't. Okay, whatever. Anyway, that's the ban list prediction. Ooga booga. Oh yeah, Garu X. They won't hit it. It's way too new. That's it. It should get hit.
They shouldn't get hit.
Garu X should. It should get hit. It won't get hit.
It done nothing wrong. Race with Charity is a fair card.
Shut up. Stop. Garu X deserves to get like dunzoed, dude. This card was a mistake.
But
how did they predict this?
I would not be happy if they hit this card before they hit Patamon.
Patamon is also a problem. They really should hit Messenger of Hope. Yeah. This is literally 1 cost level 6. Who thought that was okay, dude? Like Patamon is not okay. But Patamon has the SR invulnerability, so we're not gonna hit Patamon. Right?
Yeah,
So
there's a
like,
bubble. There's a high rarity bubble around that damn.
yeah, so like we pray they hit Messenger because this card is not fair at all. This is like I whatever. At this point,
Yeah, like you can't shoot green for having HPD and then print one cost HPD.
no,
In yellow.
but see, the one cost makes it fair.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's the video. Bye.
But